It's strange because, and I one of the criticisms I have for the Jor-El scene, and we might as well get into that because there have been people coping about that for the past week who this is what we do when we love films, right? If you love something, even if there's a flaw in it, you'll try to say, well, this is what I think. And, sometimes I think that's just explaining your position. Sometimes I think it's coping if there's like overwhelming evidence. But in the movie, there's a big change to Superman lore. And that is that Jor-El and Lara, after sending Superman to Earth, they leave him a little message. And and the first half of the message is really nice and sweet. It's like, we love you more than the world. We love you more than land. We love you more than everything. Go do great things, our son. And the second part of the message got corrupted. He was never able to see it because of the damage in transit, stuff like that. It's like 20 minutes into the movie, Lex Luthor breaks into the Fortress of Solitude, has the engineer hack the computer, and is able to download something that was never be able to access before, and plays it in front of the entire world and airs that the second half of that message is, hey, by the way, humans, they're fucking retarded. They're dumb. They're weak. Go there and rule over them, lord over them. Just kill anybody that gets in your way. Create a harem of women. Take as many brides as you can so you can spread your superior Kryptonian seed. Do that, our son. We'll be very proud of you. And it's kind of out there. And throughout the entire movie, I am thinking to myself, okay, they're going to reveal that this is actually just a ploy by Lex. And you know what? Like, in principle, Chris, I actually am really down with the idea of Lex Luthor trying to do something like this.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And create a crisis within Superman, throw him completely off, have him questioning everything. I think that's a great plot point to introduce. However, it was very easy to just be like, well, Lex actually manipulated that. That's not real. Yep. And you explain at the end, after Superman has gone through the crisis, come to realize that even if these are my parents, that doesn't mean that's who I have to be. This is who I'm going to be. I'm making this decision and, fighting off everybody and winning the day and saving the day. Then it gets revealed to him, no, Clark, that's not actually what was going on. Here's the real message. And I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be awesome. I think it should have been done. But no, this is real. And James Gunn confirmed this the other day. Like
confirmed it. And Mr. Terrific confirms it, the smartest man, right? Like, it's like characters in the story confirm it. I think it's awful. I think it's an awful message. I mean, the message he was trying to get to by the end, which is fine, which is he adopted the values of his parents, right? His Kansas parents. So Mom, Pa Kent, sort of hick. They maybe have a meth lab in the back of their home. I don't know. They really were hickish.
They went a little extra with him, I felt like.
He really went full, way too hick for me. But I don't know. Those things. This is the thing. Great cast. Awesome David Corenswet. You've got women that are allowed to be as sexy in the movie as they are on the red carpet, right? Like, great. There's so many things got right, and then there's so many nitpicks and annoying shit. Yeah. Oh, this is great.
Yeah, it's like, and I 100% what you're saying is correct, and that's what makes Superman such a unique hero, is because his morals, he's an alien, but he is human because of the way he was raised by his adoptive parents, by Mom and Pa Kent, and it's so important to his character. I do think that Jor-El is also important. The reason he's sent to Earth is also important, and this is obviously someone's take on it. Donner's Jor-El: help the people of Earth, my son. Snyder's Jor-El: do not let them make the same mistakes as us. Gunn's: rape them hoes.
It's funny because on a Flashcast, Yellow Flash, they got in a whole conversation Saturday about Supergirl shows up at the end. Can't she speak Kryptonian? Wasn't she on Krypton a longer, as a young girl? Like, doesn't she travel to other worlds? Couldn't she look at that message and say, no, they're saying something else? Like, she could confirm it. Like,
that's the thing. And because you can have this plot point that you want, which I think is interesting, but you can still salvage it at the end. And to me, that's why it's It is similar to the Batman. However,
Yeah.
if you watch the Batman, you recall that about midway through that, it essentially is revealed, or so we think, that oh shit, like the way Thomas Wayne had a reporter murdered because they were going to run a story about Martha's like psychological problems, and that sends Batman into a little bit of a tailspin for a while. Well, then it's actually revealed that that's not exactly the story. That Thomas Wayne went to Falcone, was like, look, there's a report that's on this. I just need him to not run the story. I just want to find a way to keep him quiet, kind of thing. And Falcone was like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. Boom. And Thomas Wayne's like, what the fuck? And he essentially said, that's not what I wanted to happen. I'm going to go to the police and turn you in. And that's why they got killed. Like, so even with that, you do have a, oh shit, reveal. The Waynes are awful people. They had someone killed. Not exactly the story.
Right.
And that gets revealed to Bruce that your parents aren't like these monsters or anything like that. They may have made a mistake, but that was never their intention, type of thing. And that's all you needed for this movie, for me, to be a little bit more salvageable. Because you're right. Instead of Supergirl coming in after partying on another planet to take the dog back, and her calling Superman a bitch and all this stuff for laughs at the end, wouldn't it have been a much more interesting and better way for Superman to still be dealing with the fallout from that and talking about this message and like revealing that to his cousin, who, like, that should be an important reveal that he makes to her, because she knew her. She knew them back on Krypton, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And her being like, no, Cal, that's not true. Wasn't who your father was at all. And then she's able to reveal to him what they actually said, or she's able to translate or whatever. And it was a trick by Lex. Just do that. My God.
Exactly. And being Kryptonian herself, wouldn't she have the same mission to rule, to spread her? Well, she can't really have, I mean, she have a lot of babies, you know, and spread the Kryptonian seed, keep the, you know, the legacy, or rebuild, you know.
That's why she's partying, Chris.
I guess there's so many, and like, I don't know. I'm not looking forward to this Supergirl movie based on that final scene. I thought that was, it didn't really work, but I disagree with this headline. You can retcon it again, right? I mean, it says James Gunn retcons Superman's origin story in a major, irreversible way. It's not irreversible. They could reverse it in the next movie. They could go full Last Jedi and whatever, change the previous film. They've done it. I mean, even Darth Vader was not initially, you know, Luke's father. That was an Empire thing. He was just a heavy for you know, the Emperor. That's it in the first movie.
I 1000% believe that this will be changed, and there's a bunch of ways that you can change it. However, the idea that this might get retconned 3 years down the road in the next Superman movie we see, whatever it might be, does not excuse what they did in this movie and what the plan is for this movie. And the people that are desperately trying to cope to pretend like, oh, well, I can't believe you'd believe that, or this, or this, or this. It's like, no, there is nothing clever about this movie. And the idea that you're trying to force that onto something that it's not. Look, the Ultraman reveal was revealed in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
But like, someone pointed out, couldn't he use X-ray vision and see who Ultraman is? Did he have a lead-lined suit?
So that could have been something interesting, right? Because he should be very curious about this person who like slams him down to the ground and is super strong and is covered and is mysterious. It would have, like, all you need is a 5-second sequence where he attempts to use his X-ray vision and he can't see through it. And Lex is like, oh, can't tell who it is. I like lead line, blah, blah, blah. I know all your weaknesses, Superman. The
problem, this is a big problem with the movie in general. It's like flipping through a comic without reading it. Everything is so surface level. Every emotional moment, with the exception of maybe one with Pa Kent, is like deflated with some quip or joke. And I don't like that. I feel like Gunn introduced that style of humor in Guardians, and then every Marvel movie post Guardians copies Guardians, and then Gunn copies himself. It worked for Suicide Squad, fine, but even that had some emotional moments that were surprising. and this has a severe lack of it. What's weird is it's gonna make Man of Steel age better, and I think that movie has. I revisit that movie. I'm not saying I love it, but I like it better than this, and it's aged well. What is it? It's 11 years old now.
12 years.
12. Okay, 12.
Yeah, 2013.
2013. Okay, it's aged well. I mean, there are parts of the. I don't know. It's more interesting to me, but this is a more accessible Superman. Aside from the fact, and I even said it, it's a movie for kids. But there's a lot of stuff. A guy getting shot in the head by Lex Luthor. That's pretty intense. I do like Gardner giving the finger to all the tanks. That was great. And there's swearing throughout. So you can say it's for kids, but I think, if you're a parent, it's definitely PG-13.
There's a couple shits and a bitch thrown in throughout the movie. I don't think it's anything wild. Like, yeah, a 10, 11, 12-year-old, I wouldn't have any problem with them watching this type of thing,
Yeah, I mean, kids can look at, porn on the internet when they're 11. I think this movie is pretty safe,
Yeah, it's much safer than your child watching porn. I agree. However, if you were in India or one of these places, they even censor the kissing scenes because it was just too. Yeah, that's a story that came out. I guess in India, I think the kiss in the apartment in the beginning and the kiss at the end of the movie were like removed or like altered in some ways.
Does that explain all the forehead mashing that people do in movies now? I hate that. It's in lieu. I do give the movie credit for not being overtly woke. I mean, women are allowed to be women, and men, well, mostly can be men, or today's modern men. They do make out. There's heterosexual, or that stupid word, heteronormative love, right? Like that's present. And it's so funny that so many movies don't have that at all. Like, look at Thunderbolts, which Jeremy loved. Jeremy loved that movie. There's nothing. And even like Florence Pugh is completely desexualized. She's in that dumpy jumpsuit, and the most romance she has is with a gerbil or a hamster or something at the beginning. What was that? Guinea pig. Am I wrong? Yeah. Guinea pig at the beginning. She's all sort of lovey. Then there's I'm just movies devoid of romance is a weird, nefarious thing. Like evil parents and turning against them is also kind of strange. These recurring themes. I'm not saying that it's some weird psyop. I think Hollywood people are lazy and just copy each other. And just there are trends in things, and they're like, oh, just do that because everyone's doing that. But
Yelena just needs to catch a dick. Should be smiling more.
Yeah, exactly. But seeing that not present, we're so used to that being an aspect of a movie. Humor, measured humor in a movie, romance. I love romance in a film. That's great. It's a part of it. And then tell a hero story. And we're getting like glimpses of it. So Gunn gets credit, but then we have so many nitpicks. I'm glad we're talking about them. So
yeah, and there's like things that I think are like there's ideas that are presented with it that I love, and then there's parts where it's just not executed well, which like pisses me off then because I like that idea, but I don't like then what you immediately did. So I don't know. Like I like the idea of Superman being, I don't want to say naive, but always trying to see the good in everyone type of thing, right? That's who Superman is. And I like the contrast between Lois as some cynical reporter who always is kind of like assuming the worst, and the idea of them being drawn together. And like you said, one of the major problems with the movie for me is the lack of respect for Superman from everyone. And it's because of the way the movie's set up. This is not a Superman who's just here. He's been around for 3 fucking years. And that's a long time. And I think the assumption going into this movie is everybody loves Superman. Everyone thinks Superman is awesome. Everyone thinks he's great. And then you get into it immediately that, oh, by the way, he just lost and now he's going through all this shit because it's being talked about for this conflict in the Middle East and social media. And it's like, give me 10 or 15 minutes in the beginning that shows me that Superman that everybody loves, that everybody's looking up to, that he's just easily defeating all these problems, and then give him the curveball, you know?
Yeah, well, I've been watching a lot of Gunn interviews, and I will say he's much better in like Josh Horowitz. GQ did a great interview with him where he actually gets down to nitty gritty. These social post things are awful. I mean, they're fine. I love the, you know, them goofing around, whatever, but there's an 8 to 10 year arc. This could be his arc, his character arc over the movies where, you know, he earns that respect from all the other heroes through the course. So this is young Superman making mistakes, not well respected. We'll see in the next movie or the third film or maybe it's a Justice League movie, that he's earned that respect. He commands like Steve Rogers in the first Avengers, barking out orders to the cops, like, and that was great. That was who he is, you know. But we, you know, he grew into that. I mean, it's a mixed debut. I don't hate it, but there's so much to nitpick, and this is gonna go, I think, for a while.
And I do really enjoy that we're nitpicking things that we feel about the comics and things we feel about different past iterations of this character. And these are the types of arguments that we've had about every single fucking superhero movie ever, right? For years and years and years, until the past 10 years where the conversation started becoming more than just these conversations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I think we're in agreement. They are going to change the Jor-El thing, not because it was their plan, but because of the backlash.
Yeah.
What do you think? Now, you would have to do some explaining as to why he never actually showed Kara or Supergirl the recording.
Right.
But what if Bradley Cooper is not Jor-El and he's Zod?
Right.
Right. There is a million things you can do to change it. You could have Brainiac do something. But what if Bradley Cooper is kind of fucking wasted as Jor-El, who's clearly not even taken seriously? You never hear him speaking English, like kind of wasted. What if he's Zod? Like, what if they make a Zod thing with Bradley Cooper later?
What if he, you know, stopped Jor-El, the real Jor-El, made his own message, pretending to be his father, Kal-El's father. Exactly. Yeah, there's a million ways you can retcon it. If you read the comics, that happens all the time. And I will say, even the way the movie opened, people complained about that. That's a comic book. You open a comic, I know the character, but when I buy a comic off the spinner rack, I know the character. You jump in, the opening panel is a full page, boom, something shocking about that character. The movie opened like a comic book. It's probably the most comic book movie since the original Superman. So on that, I give it credit for a lot of things. And there are things that I don't like not leaning into American values or even truth, justice, the American way. If you know, Clark Kal-El, Superman, is truly an optimist, good, he would see the good in America, because so many people do not these days. They only see the evil in America. And I think that's a kind of nefarious thing, you know, as a college dropout. I'm glad I didn't finish school.
You're glad that you still love America?
I love America. I always have, you know. So
there you go. There are moments in the comic books where they do hint at like some interesting things. I think in Burns' run, it's like, hey, we're going to send him to here. It's got a yellow sun. He's going to basically going to give him powers and stuff like that. He'll be almost like a god amongst them. And then Lara's like, what does that mean? He's going to rule them. He's going to show them the true Kryptonian way. And it's like, well, perhaps, or maybe he could just lead them as opposed to ruling them and like show them these things. So they've walked a line sometimes and, you know, introduced some ideas in comics. This is pretty blatant.